Ooh, Raven fans, Oriole fans, and Terp fans. So thank you for joining us today. This is the Ravery Sports Podcast. I'm Charles, the owner and CEO of Ravery Sports. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. Definitely, if you're watching us right now, you're watching us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. So thank you very much for joining us for our standalone Terps preview of the Maryland Terps season here. That's going to start here tomorrow, and we're going to go ahead and get it rolling here. The Terps. So they're in the Big Ten, obviously. Big Ten is expanding, and let's see how they do this season as they go ahead and play all the teams in the Big Ten. Terps last year went to a bowl game, so that's good. Program seems to be moving in the right direction. So what's going on exactly with our Maryland Terps? Heck, Loxley is entering his fifth season. Seemed like it went by pretty quickly there. So he's going to enter his fifth season as head coach, former coach at Alabama, has a winning record. So Mike Loxley, I think, has been really good for the organization, really good for the university. He's really done a good job, moved them back in the right direction, program moving in the wrong direction for a long time, doing very well. Josh Gaddis, now from the University of Miami, is now taking over as offensive coordinator. So that'd be interesting to see how well they do now on offense. So the offense already has pieces in it. Let's see how his offense can actually do, actually getting that squared away now as the new OC. Brian Williams by himself now as the defensive coordinator. He's entering his third season as D coordinator. So he's going ahead and looking to improve the defense. The weakness of the team seems to be the defense. Defense isn't terrible, but not as good as this really good offense we got. So Tagovailoa is the quarterback. Talua Tagovailoa is the quarterback. Roman Hemby is going to go ahead and start. Deshaun Jones is the wide receiver. Those are your three pretty much main guys at the skill positions. Deshaun Jones is really good as a punt returner, kick returner, really coming into his own as a wideout. Roman Hemby, he can run over anybody. Very good for a freshman, over almost 1,000 yards rushing. So let's see how he does in his sophomore year. I think definitely he has the talent to go play in the NFL. Everybody's anointing J.J. McCarty in Michigan as the top quarterback in the Big Ten. You look at these stats, this guy might be the top quarterback. So more developed, played longer, had more of a turnaround to do at Michigan and Maryland than at Michigan. So we'll see who performs best as the top quarterback. Corey Dyches is an outstanding tight end for them. I think he's very underrated. DeMar Glaze as right tackle, probably your most experienced, best tackle for the offense. On defense, Deshaun Barsham is the middle linebacker, inside linebacker. A lot of potential there going ahead. He's going to probably be your starter at middle linebacker. Ruben Hippolyte, senior, is going to be outside linebacker. He's going to be your main guy rushing the passer for the Terps this year in his senior season. This is where they really make their money on defense. Bo Braid is going to go ahead and play at free safety. He's probably your best defensive player. Corey Coley and Terry Still, they're going to play outside and in the slot. So they're actually going to be on defense. Brian Williams' defense is very aggressive. So let's see how the Terps do in this very difficult. I think they're probably in the toughest division in all of college football, the Big Ten East. But we'll see how the Terps do with the defense. Offensively, I think they have everything they need to go ahead and be successful on defense, still with a lot of work to do. Questions for the Terps this year. So are the Terps at the top half of the Big Ten? Possibly. I think if you look at the Big Ten now, which is turning into the Big 20 with everything that went on, next year they're adding UCLA, they're adding USC, they're adding Oregon, they're adding Washington. Possibly two more teams. We don't know. They may round it out to 20. So being a top half of the Big Ten is an accomplishment. I would say out of all the teams in the Big Ten, they're in the top half. However, not to be in the top three matters a lot. So they're probably better than Michigan. Well, they're definitely better than Rutgers, definitely better than Indiana, definitely better than uh, Northwestern, definitely better than a lot of teams in the Big Ten. But top half, probably, but I don't know how far that gets you in the Big Ten. But it is a question to see how much progress they're making because they're not at the bottom with all those teams we just talked about. Can Tua Tagovailoa take another step forward? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he's right there with JJ McCarthy as the best quarterback in the Big Ten. JJ McCarthy, I think everybody's anointing him off a really half a season, maybe a little bit more than half a season. He really didn't start till about the Maryland game last year. So he played several games, great stats and things like that. But I think it's all possible that he can take that Tagovailoa, Tallulah Tagovailoa can take another step, can be the starter, can have an NFL drafted. Absolutely, he can be in the Heisman running with the way he's played because he's going to push the ball down the field and get a lot of big chunk plays and score a lot of points. That's how good this Maryland defense and Maryland offense can be. How good is the defense with losing players to the NFL? When you lose some of the guys they had, especially a Deontay Banks, that's going to hurt you. I think it's not going to be their strength anyway, even if they had those guys. I think they got to recruit better on the defensive side of the ball, but I don't think it was their strength anyway. With Tua Tagovailoa on offense, Robin Hemby, Deshaun Jones, and those guys on offense, that's where they're going to earn their money. That's where they're going to score a lot of points in most games. They're going to score a lot of points. Where it's going to hurt them is against a real heavy teams in the Big Ten when they're playing these games and to win those games. But they're going to score a lot of points. I mean, there's no question about that. They're going to score a lot of points. I think their defense is going to be about middle of the package, like better than the teams at the bottom, like Indiana, etc. But their defense is going to slip back a little bit, but it may not matter record-wise. Josh Gaddis, how will he perform as the new offensive coordinator for the Maryland Terps? He's got a great resume. Absolutely. He coached at Penn State. He's from North Carolina. He's definitely got a great resume for them, and he's taking over an outstanding quarterback right here that he has. So he's got a great resume. I don't love it per se. I think they had to do it obviously, but I don't actually love it. Because he got let go in Miami, and I think that does say something about that. But otherwise, he's been successful. He was at Alabama. He was at and successful. He was at Michigan as successful. He's been successful everywhere else he's been. So it's reason to believe with the type of offense, with definitely the way he, with all the success he's had previously, it makes a lot of sense that he will do well at University of Maryland. I will say though, I'd rather not do that. I'd rather not do that considering how good the offense has been and how much steps forward you have taken as an offense. So you're going to see a lot of run pass options, a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of things like that. That's the type of run. So it should work. But again, changing up like this is a concern for me. Having a new OC when you have good offense. And can Terps beat the big three? Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. They got a shot against Michigan State. I don't think so. It's crazy because you're in a division, just one division in one conference, with three teams probably in the top 8 in the whole country. Michigan, I think, is 1 or 2. Ohio State's around 3, 4, and Penn State's about 7, 8. So there's a huge drop after those teams in the division, in the whole Big Ten. So you'll see it here. Only maybe with USC joins, they'll be in that same group there. But there's a huge drop. I don't think the Terps win any of those games. I will say though, they were more competitive last year, where they didn't get destroyed. I mean, I think that the Michigan game was very close. Penn State game was fairly competitive. So we'll see how they do against those teams. Let's take a look at the Terps schedule. So you got the one against Towson on the September the 2nd, where the Terps will go ahead and play. I call this now one of these Deion Sanders games. So Deion Sanders talks about these pay-for-play games, and this is what this is. So that's a victory against the Towson Tigers. Charlotte used to be called UNC Charlotte, now just straight up as Charlotte. It's going to be the night game on NBC, so you'll be able to go ahead and check that out nationally. NBC now is going to have some Big Ten games in prime time, and that's going to be the game, Charlotte against Maryland. So you could pretty much pencil that in as a win. Virginia, you should beat as well. This is an old ACC rivalry. They used to play Virginia every year at the end of the season. So that should be another win for the Terps. Michigan State, we're going to talk a little bit about the whole Big Ten here in a second, but Michigan State, 3:30 in the afternoon as well. Yeah, TV yet to be determined yet. A lot of these games, the networks decide when they want to play them, etc. So they wait a little while to see what the records of the teams are, which games they actually want. Michigan State, you're going to go to East Lansing and do that. Indiana, I don't think they're going to win the Michigan State game. I think that'll be close. I think you got a shot. I would think Michigan State could win that game. Indiana, I think you should be Indiana. Indiana's not good. Indiana's at the bottom of the Big Ten. A loss here to Ohio State as well. Should beat Illinois on the road. Should beat Northwestern on the road as well. Also to Penn State. Don't expect to win that game. That should be a loss there as well, even though it's at home. Nebraska. Nebraska should be interesting this year. I think like they got Matt Rule there. So he has been a good job of fixing things there as well. So we'll see how they do as well. Also to Michigan, again, big home game. I would say this. I'm going to say a loss, but they were really close last year as well. That wasn't the blow. When I saw it last year, I was like, well, they're going to get. I mean, they were closer there. And then Michigan just starting JJ McCarty and they ran the ball out. But hey, they were in the game. So let's see how they do at home. That if you could stay close against the big three teams there, Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan, that would go a long way to showing how far you have improved. And the last game should be a win against Rutgers. So if you go to the record, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5. The Terps. That's what it should look like this year. 8 and 5, like that. So bowl eligible, should go to a bowl game, I would think, with a record like that. That should be what the Terps. That is what the Terps are going to look like going to a bowl game this year. Let's take a look at the entire Big Ten, what the entire Big Ten should look like. So let's talk about the East. Our conference there, our part of the conference, Big Ten East. The Wolverines. Jim Harbaugh, not our guy, John Harbaugh. His brother is the coach. Suspended for 4 games. Harbaugh is a prickly old guy. I mean, people really don't like him. He got in trouble. He's assembled a fantastic team. Frank Corwin is a tremendous running back. JJ McCarty is really coming along. Also up front, they're as good as they always were. The issue they had previous years, why they couldn't beat the Buckeyes, is they didn't have the skilled people to get it done. They have it now. Definitely, they have the superior team, and they should actually go ahead and win this year, the Big Ten. The question is, can they win the whole thing? Can you beat Alabama? Can you beat Georgia? That's the question that you have with those guys. Who's going to start at quarterback for Ohio State? Is it going to be Kyle McCord? Is it going to be it looks like it's going to be Kyle McCord. There was a little bit of a competition. Can he go ahead and fill the massive shoes of CJ Stroud? That's the only reason they're under Michigan. Do they have the quarterback to actually go past the Wolverines? Always been, though, I would say, not quite as physical as the as the Wolverines. More of a team, like especially in the Urban Meyer Ryan Day era, a lot more skill position level guys, etc. Like that. I would say this though, to maybe the one of the best wide receivers in college football they have, and that is Marvin Harrison Jr. is fantastic. I don't think there is a better wide receiver. Joe Klatt said this is maybe one of the best wide receivers he's ever seen during the games. I believe him. Marvin Harrison Jr., their whole receiving core in the Buckeyes is great. But do they have a guy to get them there as far as past Michigan, which I think he worried about getting that squared away. Drew Aller is going to start for the Nittany Lions. The Nittany Lions, I guess I'm not supposed to say this, but it's a cool. There is a very cool sight watching the whiteout in Penn State. It really is a cool sight to actually watch games there. Penn State is kind of like as good as most teams in the country. They're just not as good as the two teams ahead of them in their conference, in their division. Drew Aller is going to be the starting quarterback. He is very, very good. See if they can go ahead and win and get past the two teams. They have a chance. Had this been a 12-team playoff, I definitely like Penn State to get in there. I don't think they lose more than 2 games. Ohio State and Michigan State are the only. Ohio and Michigan is the only teams that are going to beat them. Everybody else, they're going to roll them. Michigan's the Nittany Lions are very, very good. Your Maryland Terps. Now, here's the big drop off. Now they're going to finish 4th. I think they're definitely the 4th best team, but that's a big drop compared to the rest of the teams in the division. Can they compete with the top 3 at all? That's the thing. Can you compete? I got them around 8-5. I still don't think they're anywhere close to Ohio State and Michigan yet. I just don't. I just quite don't see that yet being close to those guys as well. Michigan State. I got 2 words for you guys. Mel Tucker, 3 words rather. The quote DX, the Mel Tucker contract, 10 years, $95 million extension. That's a lot of money for a guy who's only really had 1 good season. I thought it was kind of overstated, and he's kind of even on the hot seat. They're gonna have to pay all this money. I think if they have a season like they had last year, kind of middle of the pack, they're certainly expecting more in Michigan State. He really hasn't won there without Kenneth Walker. Jalen Berger won the QB1 running back 1 battle. That's kind of their style. They're going to ground and pound. I think they're behind Maryland in 5th. We'll see how that plays out for the future there of Mel Tucker. Scarlet Knights, Rutgers. I always wondered why Rutgers was even in the Big Ten. I think I know the reason why. They wanted New York. They're the closest one to New York, but they haven't been any good the whole time they're there. They did bring in Greg Schiano, who had the success there the only other time they really had success as a program. But he hasn't had the same amount of success this second time around as he did like in 2001, 2010. Good coach in a tough spot. They really don't have any guys on their first team or second team in the conference, so they're not really good at all. They finished sixth. I don't think they have a winning record. Indiana's not any good. I think Tom Allen probably he's had one really good season, but not even a really good season. One season where he was above 500. I would say this: watch Jalen Lucas. He is probably one of the most dynamic punt returners, kick returners in the league. Kind of like the great gadget guy. He's phenomenal to watch. There's really not anything else there. They're at the bottom of every other category in the Big Ten. So we will see how they do, but they're definitely last. If they win 4 games, I'd be very, very surprised. I'd be very, very surprised if they actually won 4 games. Wisconsin, they did get rid of. I was kind of hoping to keep former Raven Jim Leonard. They released Paul Chryst and replaced him with Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell's been tremendous in Cincinnati the last few years. They're going to run the air raid offense. That's going to be interesting. That this is going to be a different style for a team that's known for like ground and pound and all the physicality. They're gonna spread it out here. Brendan Allen is going to have their running back. He's had 1,200 yards 2 straight years. He's definitely preseason all Big Ten along with Blake Corum for Michigan. And Tanner Mordecai had 33 TDs for them. So they got a good quarterback. They got a good running back. They got a coach that wants to throw the ball. They should win that part of the conference. Iowa Hawkeyes, they're funny. Kurt Ferentz, a former Ravens coach, he's like 68 years old. Now he's always, you can count on the Iowa teams having a good defense, good running games. They never seem to have the skill people to match up with those other teams in the conference because they have it up front. They have defense. They have Cooper DeJean. They have Quinn Selt. They have great. They brought in Kate McNamara, who got beat out by J.J. McCarty. That's part of how college football is in the transfer portal. I think they're very good. They should go to a major game here, but it's kind of weird. He's been there since '99, and they kind of always have the same team. They always kind of just come up in second or third, or just good enough. I think it's interesting to see how the consistency is great, but why can't you get to the next level? That's kind of the thing with Iowa, but they've been really good all these years, and I think they've been very good again. Illinois. Brett Bielema replaced Levy Smith with former Bears and Texas coach Levy Smith. They have what they call the human joystick, the same nickname as Dave Flowers. Isaiah Williams is all in the all first team Big Ten. Zozan Newton is an NFL prospect. They're going to move him around a lot. They have the best scoring defense in the Big Ten. So they were really good. So defensively, they're pretty good. Offensively, they still need some work. I think they do have parts there. So I do think they have a winning record. I think they finished in third. I think they got a shot to be better than Iowa. I'm not sure that they are, but I think they definitely have a shot to be there better than Iowa. I'm sorry, Minnesota. Back on point there. Minnesota. They are going to go ahead. PJ Fleck. He's been there since 2017, so this is about his 6th season as quarterback. Ethan Kelly McManus is going to pass to Spanford. That's going to be their combination to go ahead and get that squared away. They kind of reek of middle. When I watch them, they're not good, but they're not bad either. They're kind of like they're going to win against good teams. They're going to really good teams are going to beat them. They're gonna be about 6-7, 7-6. Good teams are going to beat them. Bad teams aren't going to beat them. That's about where they are in the middle. That's about all on Minnesota. I mean, they're like in the middle of the division. That's kind of where they live. Matt Rule is going to be back here in Nebraska. He's going to go ahead and replace Scott Frost. Now, Matt Rule's done great wherever he's been. I don't know. That's a tough job he's got, man. They brought in some good candidates, and they really still struggled. I don't think they're any higher than 5 this year in the Big Ten. The Boilermakers, as we round it out here, Ryan Walters, they got a new head coach. He's a first-time head coach. He was the Illinois defensive coordinator. We just talked about how good the Illinois defense was last year. So we know they have good defense. They did lose their quarterback, Aiden McCall, who's now with the Raiders. Houston Card is going to be taking over for them. I think they got work to do to go ahead and catch up to the rest of those teams and the mess that's going on in Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald was the only guy that ever got him anywhere. He goes and gets himself in trouble and all this other stuff. He had to step down, resign. So that's what happened. So one more time here. Terps, I think 8-5 is going to be the record. I think it's going to be exciting to watch to see how well they do in this season. They're going to win games in September. They're going to beat all the teams they should beat. It'll be interesting to see, for me especially, can you beat the best teams in the Big Ten? Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. How close are you to the hierarchy there of those teams? No longer does it matter how you do in bowls. Nobody cares. Besides the New Year's Day Bowl. Can you get to the playoffs? Can you get to that level where we all want to see the Terps at winning and playing for a national championship? All right. So this was fun. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening for our Maryland Terps preview. This is our first one. Definitely check us out here on Sunday as we go ahead and do our NFL preseason predictions. We're going to go ahead and do that one as well. Thank you very much for joining us here for our standalone video with the Maryland Terps preview. Enjoy the game tomorrow as we go ahead and play Towson. Don't expect a close game. Don't expect a close game if you're going to watch Maryland Towson. Tickets are only a few dollars too, so if you get a chance to get down there, go down there and check it out. Thank you very much. You have a great rest of your day.